Hey, what's going on, guys? This is CJ. Thank you so much for tuning in. I thought that it is the best time to make a E92 update or an actual video on my process of creating the K-swap drift car into the E92. I thought I would show you guys what I've gone through and the problems that has happened, what I've spent so far, and just kind of update you guys on everything, because I think that I'm in a pretty close area that I'm just about done, and it's been almost 3 weeks, so probably a month that it's taken this whole kind of project, I guess, to where it would be just fun just to like drive it, you know. So yeah, let's get started of what I've purchased and what I've used so far, and just tell you guys how much I've spent. So basically, this is what I've spent. I bought the K24, which is going to be the heart of the whole thing. The K24A4, which before this I didn't know anything about K-series or the series of Hondas in general. I'm not a Honda guy at all, and I didn't really do that much research, but I did enough that I felt like, hey, this K24A4 seems like it would get me to a spot that I would feel comfortable with. However, I would probably have spent a little bit more money to get the K24A2 or K24A in general, but it's okay. I'll work with this. This has iVTEC, which is one of those things that is not true VTEC, which is a lot of Honda guys will say that, which it's not. It's only the intake side that has the VTEC lobes on it, and it's not as much power as all the other series does. So this has 160 horsepower, so you're lacking 40 horsepower that potentially could be a good K-series motor. The thing that you can get around the whole horsepower thing is that you can actually remove the cams and do a VTEC killer setup, which is basically without VTEC lobes. If you don't know how it works, it's basically two lobes that open up the like a smaller version, or I would say just a small gap between the valves, and then there's one big lobe that will open both of them even further after a certain RPM and oil pressure. So basically you'll remove the small lobes and just keep the big lobes, so it's always in VTEC basically, and you can do that on both sides so that you can gain that much horsepower from what you're lacking from all the true VTEC K-series. So that might be a possibility, but I bought that for $600, and it came with literally everything: alternator, the AC compressor, the exhaust manifold, intake manifold, and everything that was truly needed to basically throw it into a car that already had a K24A4 and swap it out. So that's $600, and you know, I'm happy with it. I think it'll be fine. It'll get me through most of it, and we'll be fine. So add-on so far is that these are all CNC machining parts. As you can tell, they're all nice and prettier than the engine. So this is PQY. This was on Amazon. It's like 30 bucks. It'll just reroute the coolant over to the thermostat that will be right there. And then there's another one that's upper radiator hose. This typically goes to the back, but because it's rear-wheel drive, it'll shoot into the firewall, so we need to swap it out. So it goes to the side, and then that'll go to the top of the radiator. And then there is not a single, like, you can't get any better than this piece right here. The adapter plate goes from the K24 or K20 to K24 to the BMW GS6 53BZ, which is the stock tranny that would have been into this chassis that I did not get. I had to buy it separately, but I'll get to that a little later. So this is the PMC adapter. This is like, I mean, you guys, it can't be any better than this. There are cheaper options. This was $1,000 for the adapter plate, the flywheel, and the starting gear. And I'll show you those in a second, but I mean, dude, guys, I'm telling you, as far as the packaging, all the way to the, it stopped tracking for some reason, all the way to the quality of the parts, absolutely amazing. I mean, it literally, it can't get any better. So this is the pieces, and I don't know how to get the tracking back on, guys. Oh, there it goes. So I bought a new camera for this. This is the flywheel, all CNC'd, and it looks like you can actually replace this piece, which is so sick. And then the good old starting gear, which is also CNC, super light. I mean, if I was to redo this, I would definitely buy another PMC product. They only make adapters as far as I know, but it is so nice, guys. So nice. It bolted up so nice, so easily. I can't complain. There is a new rear crank main seal, which I replaced just because it's already apart. You might as well do that. Gotta get my breath, guys. So this is the 2007 335i BMW rear-wheel drive. If it was all-wheel drive, you would have a different cross member for the motor, and I don't believe it could work with the rear-wheel drive motor. But that doesn't apply to me because I have a K24, so it doesn't matter either way. Everything bolts up pretty nicely. There was some like additions that I had to do to the tranny, which is right there. It's all cleaned up and everything now. But I had to buy a new motor mount. This one was out because, or this one was out. This one was staying in because of this like support beam or bar or whatever. Yeah, it was bolted in, and I guess they didn't want to take it off. So who knows what would have happened. I guess they were kind of worried. I dropped that, and I'm going to rearrange the steering rack currently. But I bought this as a completely bare chassis. It was completely naked. No drivetrain, at least. The interior was so nice. I did strip it all, which is all over here and over here. So that's all stripped now. And this was $800, which was not too bad. I do wish it came with a diff, but it did not come with a diff. But it did come with the half shafts and for the diff, but not the diff. So $800, stripped it all. Got the wiring all ready and separated for the rear taillights. So the chassis taillights and the trunk taillights are already ready to go. And then that's all spliced into one cable, which I'll link that up a little later. So I bought the car for $800. I bought the transmission, basically everything that you need for a manual swap for a 335i if you had an automatic. So pedal assembly, the accelerator, the brakes, the clutch, pressure plate, clutch, the actual clutch, and then the tranny, the lever, the differential, and I think that's it. So fork, everything else you could think of that needs to be an actual manual swap, I bought it all. So I bought all of that, and that was a package deal, and that was $2,000. So $2,000 for all of it. Basically, it was $1,800 for the manual swap of it, basically, and then I had to buy a diff separately, but that was only $200. So 18 and 2 is $2,000 for basically most of the. Oh, and the drive shaft came with the drive shaft for most of the manual stuff. So transmission was awesome. It feels nice. I mean, it had 160K miles on it, and then I had to buy new bolts, which, if you're wondering, I think those are M12 1.5s, I think. And most items for the car, I don't have any bolts. I had to buy them all. So they're mostly like M8 1.5s and M10 1.5s and M12 1.5s, I believe. And that gets you like mostly everything will fit. The M8s are like interior parts. The M10s are like exterior support beams. And then you have the M12s, which are the bigger bolts for like the drive shaft or something like that. And then the motor mounts were actually, I think it was M10 1.5s. So I bought those, new hardware. I did have that hardware already, but I thought I would replace it because I kind of want it to match, guys, okay? And bolts are not too expensive. There are some expensive bolts that I've spent like $7 a piece for. But if you buy like grade 5, which is okay, it's probably not mostly recommended, but you know, they are cheap. So 9 bolts were actually $1.60, so super cheap, not overly expensive. And then, okay, what else? So clearly the motor fits in okay, but like I said, I'm rearranging the steering rack. That is going to go down. Not a welder. I bought myself a welder. It is aluminum, and I will have to actually place it down a little bit and angle it just slightly, and I think that will give us enough clearance for the K series and maybe make it flat enough, and I think that'll be fine, so I don't have to cut the actual cross member. Pieces that I'm using, I have this stock exhaust manifold, cut the flange off of it, I bought a DC long tube header for the S2000, which you'll be able to cut the flange off of that, split the middle two apart slightly, and then you'll be able to weld it up to the actual OEM flange of the K24. So then you have a rear-wheel drive exhaust, long tube headers, really. And that was 80 bucks, I think. $80. Might have been 100, but I believe it was 80. So give or take 20 bucks, maybe 80 or 100. And I bought that. So I got that all ready. I got the O2 sensor all popped up, so I need to buy one of those. And then what else have I bought, guys? Oh, I'm going with the electric power steering pump. This is like a pretty common thing, I guess, in race cars. This is a Volvo S70, a 2000 and I want to say 2003 or 2007, I can't remember. And that was $60 at a junkyard. I walked up, I was like, oh my god, that was awesome. And I just used some side cuts, cut everything off, and two 10 millimeters, and then that was it. So that's super simple. And then I have the S2000 intake manifold, which is awesome. I bought that for $180, and that was local. So lucky to find something like that local. It was, I mean, guys, I can't tell you how much that helped out. You will have to buy I personally bought a JSP adapter, and it's not here just yet. But the adapter will go up to the manifold or the intake side, and then adapt to the S2000's bolt pattern. You will have to cut this off, I mean, big chunk off, and then cut this small piece off, and that should be it. That to make it work. Then I have like miscellaneous 6-6 fittings, which will be for the steering rack and everything else, to go from the Volvo to the BMW steering rack. It is, I want to say it's M14 times 1.5, I believe, for that side, and then there's M16 times 1.5, one fitting. So 14, 14, and then 16 to make it all kind of work together. And then I'll buy some hoses and a return line hose that should be super simple, and just clamp it on the top, and it won't be a -6 AM fitting, and that will work. I still need a throttle body, which sucks because the stock K24 does not fit, which I think it's kind of funny that they're slightly different. So I'm probably going to buy a 70 millimeter. Let me know down below. I do know I have to, like, I think this is 64 mil, and I do have to like port it out a little bit to make it all work. But that will be fine. That's going to be 150, I believe, but that's not added to my whole price list at the moment. And then my idea is that I'm going to run an NA for a while, and then maybe screw around for a little bit. I'm sure it's not going to be a lot of power. It's just going to suck. So I'll deal with a turbo a little later. I have a 2018 STI project that I had, if you guys ever followed my shorts, and I 3D printed the flange for it. So I can actually send that off to a CNC shop or metal shop that they'll fabricate it out of metal and then send it over to me. So I basically have the flange and I don't have to make it. It'll just be, I think it'll save some time. I also bought some motor mount plates for the engine side to make it a little bit easier to make motor mounts, and I think that'll be simplistic. That was $88 from Fabco, I think it was, or Fabbot. That's right. Fabbot is like going back into business or something. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on, but yeah, I have bought that. It is on pre-order, so I don't know when that will get here. Hopefully they'll get it here shortly and soon. Today's Sunday. Who knows when I'll be posting this, but today's Sunday. Monday I get the S2000 intake to the K24 motor, and then I get on the Wednesday, I'll get the Hondata ECU. I bought the ECU in 2002 automatic RSX. Now you can use any supported Hondata or Honda K series ECU. The only problem is that it has to be supported, of course. And if you're doing something like what I'm doing, that you're not going to use a Honda transmission or an Acura, then you can get an automatic or manual. Doesn't matter, because regardless, it is mostly for the speed sensor and not other issues. So you'd be okay if you're doing a K-swap, rear-wheel drive, and just buy any ECU you can find. It was $160, because I thought I had to buy a manual ECU, which was $400, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I can't believe that. And then to get it chipped from Hondata was $909. So Right now, I'm at $7,000 in total, just so you guys know that's the number. The ECU was absolutely amazing. CLM Motorsports out in New Jersey is the place to go if you guys don't know about them. Then basically you will ship them a core ECU. They'll ship you, well, once they get it, they'll check it to make sure it's actually okay. And then they'll have one already pre-made for you and chipped, and then ship it to you. So as long as they have it in stock, it's like a 1 week process. I get that on Wednesday. I sent it last Wednesday. Typically, Hondata is what I've told. I'm told that it was 2 weeks to 2 months out for Hondata to chip your ECU. So if you sent it to them, it would take that long. I don't have that time frame. I mean, realistically I could, but like, I want it now. So that was 909 ECU 160. And I'm not gonna go in through anyone else besides CLM. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Saved so much time. So if you're looking to save some time, send your ECU over there. Bada bing, bada bang. Okay. I think that's basically it. I had to buy more bolts and whatnot, like miscellaneous crap, but everything else in the BMW is stripped and it is ready to go. Still have to bolt down the pedals, and then the steering rack is completely disconnected, or I mean, steering column is disconnected because of the movement of the steering rack. So I'll have to adjust that. All right, so slightly a long video, guys. I apologize, but am I missing something? Yes, I'm missing my harness. I bought my harness from Carrot. I would not personally recommend them. Currently, I haven't tested it, of course. I'm sure it's gonna work great. But I have looked up the harness again after I purchased it. It was on sale from $650 to $450, which is a great deal. So I had to buy it, right? So I bought it, but then after I did more research, it seemed like it was like a generic harness. Like, I don't want to, like, if they custom made it, then awesome. But I just feel like that it looks very similar to the Amazon one, the eBay one, the Alibaba one, and there's one more site that I can't think of what it is. It's $200, but roughly you could probably get the same harness for half the cost elsewhere, I think. So I'll put it to a test eventually. If I grow enough, guys, I'll buy another harness from elsewhere and just like test it out for you guys, so you guys know. But yeah, I feel like I overspent on the harness that I didn't need to. But when I looked it up originally, I couldn't find the harness. And then after I bought it, I could find the harness everywhere. And I was like, what the heck? So that's on me. It's okay. I still have it. I kept it. I'm going to keep it because I don't want to be that person that returns it because I found something cheaper. So that's okay. Other than that, I think that is it so far. And I'll keep you guys updated. I will make more real videos because I do a lot of short stuff. And I think it'll just be a little bit better because I can explain so much more in, sorry that the video's long, but in an extended amount of time versus, 1 minute short or something like that. So if you guys enjoyed, if I forgot something, if I said something that is wrong, correct me in the comments. Let's make sure that everyone's on the same page. And I'm here to learn too, guys. So if you guys enjoyed, hit that like button down below, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.